break. You give them joy, leave me to bleed. Why take from me what I most need?
Episode 5. Their arms are full. Part 1. The wound. Pre-chorus 1. Their arms are full, mine only ache. Their hearts find rest, mine will not wake. You give them joy, leave me to bleed. Why take from me what I most need? This is where it turns. Everything in the previous 2 episodes, the cold hearth, the silent halls, the passing dreams, the thirst, the crack, the wordless question, all of it has been interior, turned inward. The pain of the first verse is the pain of someone still trying to make sense of their own experience, still looking at themselves for the answer, still asking, what's wrong with me, in that private, confused, exhausted way. That changes here. The pre-chorus is not confused. It is not quiet. It is not turned inward, searching for an explanation. It is turned outward, and it is aimed directly at God. The accusation is clear, the language is hard, and I want to spend some time in it before we move anywhere else. Because this is the part of the song, and the part of the human experience, that faith most often tries to skip over. Clean it up, soften it, get to the part where we're okay again. We are not doing that here. Their arms are full, mine only ache. This is comparison at its most exposed. Not the subtle background hum of watching someone else's life through a screen and feeling the familiar sting. This is direct. Theirs, mine. Full, empty. There is no qualifier, no charitable interpretation, no attempt to be fair about it. Their arms are full, mine only ache. That's the whole sentence. And in its simplicity, it captures something that anyone who has lived inside envy knows. The way comparison eventually strips everything down to this binary. What they have, what I don't. Nothing else fits in the frame. I know this feeling from the inside. The friend whose relationships seemed effortless when mine were absent or broken. The colleague whose work got noticed when mine went unseen. The person whose life seemed to be filling up with exactly the things I had been asking God for, and filling up easily, naturally, without the striving and the doing and the long unanswered prayers that my version of the same longing had required. Their arms full, mine aching. That's not an exaggeration. That's just what it felt like. Their hearts find rest, mine will not wake. Rest. That word is doing a lot of work in this line, because rest is not just comfort, it's arrival. It's the sense that the searching is over, that the thing you were looking for has been found, that you can put down what you were carrying because you've reached the place you were trying to get to. Their hearts have found it. They are resting. And mine will not wake. Won't come alive. Won't find the thing that would let it settle. Still searching, still aching, still carrying the weight of an unanswered longing in a world full of people who seem to have found their answer. And then, the turn. You give them joy, leave me to bleed. This is the moment. This is what all of it has been building toward. Because the accusation is no longer directed at the self, and it is no longer ambient. It is specific, and it is pointed at God. You. Not fate, not circumstance, not the random distribution of luck in an indifferent universe. You, the one who gives and takes, the one who decided, the one who looked at the situation and chose, gave them joy, left me to bleed. That is the charge. That is the accusation laid at the feet of a sovereign God by someone in genuine pain who cannot understand why his sovereignty looks like this from where they're standing. I want to say this carefully and mean it. This is not a failure of faith. This is faith in crisis, which is not the same thing. A person who has no category for God, no belief in his involvement, no framework in which he is the one who gives and takes, that person does not say, "You give them joy, leave me to bleed." They say, "Life is unfair," and move on. The accusation itself is evidence of belief. It is addressed to someone. It holds God responsible because it still believes God is responsible, that he is present, that he is active, that his hand is in this. The theology is actually correct. It just hurts. Why take from me what I most need? This is the question underneath the accusation. And I want to sit with it for a moment, because it is not a small question. It is not asking why God withheld something peripheral, something nice to have, something that would have been pleasant but wasn't essential. It is asking about what I most need, the thing at the center, the thing whose absence explains the cold hearth and the silent halls and the aching arms. The need that felt so basic, so human, so reasonable to have, and didn't come. What was it for you? What is the thing that you most needed, that felt like a reasonable thing to need, a human thing, not an extravagant request, that didn't come? Or came for everyone around you, but not for you? A relationship, a family, a sense of belonging, health, the feeling that your work meant something, a door that opened, a recognition that arrived. I'm not going to fill in the blank for you, but I am going to ask you to let yourself name it. Because this question only lands the way it's supposed to land if you let it be specific. Not abstract suffering. Your specific need. The one whose absence has cost you something real. Why take from me what I most need? The Psalms know this question. Psalm 22 opens with it. My God, why have you forsaken me? It is the cry of someone who believed, who prayed, who brought their need to God and watched the silence stretch. Lamentations 3 sits in it for chapters. Jeremiah cataloguing the ways God seems to have turned against the very one who sought him. Job carries it in a form so raw that his friends spend most of the book trying to talk him out of it. And God, at the end, vindicates Job's honesty over their composure. The tradition of bringing this to God, unmanaged, unpolished, still bleeding, is ancient. It is not the exception in Scripture. It is woven through the center of it. And here is what I know about this moment, both from my own experience and from the testimony of everyone who has walked through it and come out the other side. This question, as painful as it is not the end of the conversation. It is the beginning of a different one, a more honest one. One in which you are no longer managing your pain into acceptable theological language and presenting it to God in a form you think He can handle. One in which you are simply there, aching, bleeding, asking, and He is large enough to receive all of it. That is not the resolution. The resolution is a long walk from here. But the fact that you are still talking to Him, still asking, still accusing, still holding Him responsible, means you have not walked away. And in my experience, that matters more than the composure of the question. He can hold this. He always could.
Not my will, but what you see. Shape the fire that's shaping me.